Valentine's Day, and I know all y'all have all your Valentine stuff out there for giving to your significant other to make the day look blessed and spend all that money on all that good candy that gains weight. But anyway, good are we doing another holiday that we celebrate that's not Christian, but we'll do it anyway. But this morning, sorry we weren't there. We were out of state, and we just got back. I'll get back to Daniel on Wednesday evening again. But this morning we get back to our study of the book of John. In John chapter 1 and verses John, sorry about that, verses 1 through 13. Anyway, see what God's timetable is. We kind of want our timetable, and we don't see God's timetable. And what we see, maybe this is what's in Daniel. We're seeing what maybe where's our nation and what we're doing. Well, look at that as God's timetable too. You see, from the world standpoint, history is just really an unexplained random events. A bunch of random events just thrown together randomly, no rhyme or reason to them. But, I mean, I guess I could say also a meaningless chain of cause and effects. But the Bible portrays it as the very opposite, really. Even when you look at Daniel and the statue of the kingdom, which is proven by history as God put it together. The perfect purpose, work of God's eternal plan. As a ruler over all the kingdoms of the nations in 2 Chronicles 26. That's who God is. And the blessed and only sovereign, the King of kings and Lord of lords in 1 Timothy 6:15. God is in complete control, no matter what we think, no matter what the chaos is, no matter what our human opinion is. God is in control of everything. No matter what you're talking about, no matter what our situation is, God is in control of everything, every situation, working all things together for His glory, not ours, for His glory and the good of His children, us, in Romans 8:28 and 11:36. Nebuchadnezzar, for instance, we're talking about Daniel, the arrogant ruler of the Babylonian Empire, one of the ones that really controlled the whole world, learned that truth of God's sovereignty in a humiliating manner, really. And I'm not going to read all the passages. You can go back to Daniel chapter 4 if you want. Because I'll do that on Wednesday night. Though warned in a dream, he was. The Most High is ruler over the realm of mankind and bestows it on whomever he wishes in Daniel 4:25. But Nebuchadnezzar didn't like that idea. When he was told he was head of gold, he got kind of prideful and said, no, I'm going to do it my way. And Nebuchadnezzar reflected and said, is this not Babylon the Great, which I myself have built as a royal resident by my might of my power and for the glory of my majesty, in verse 30? Boy, you ever been to a church that's that way? We built it. I built it. Look at what I built. Look at all the buildings. A lot of people were prideful that. I mean, even in our own area around here, I know self-made pastors. None of them have any training. They just decided they were going to be the pastor. And they are. And they look and say, well, look what I've done. Look what we've done. Look what we're doing. And no recognition of what God is doing. You see. And you know what God did to Nebuchadnezzar? God's judgment was swift on Nebuchadnezzar. Right there. That prideful boast in verses 31 through 33 in chapter 4 of Daniel. When the words came out of his mouth, he was turned into an animal. God told him, you're going to be turned into an animal for 7 years. And his hair was going to go wrong. He was going to eat grass. He was going to be taken away from the society out there and put in the field. And his nails grew long like an animal. That's just a description there. As soon as they came out of his mouth for 7 years. And at the end of that 7 years, Nebuchadnezzar reflected on his lesson he had learned in verses 34 and 35. And said, God is a sovereign ruler over them. He learned that lesson. He learned it, but he learned it the hard way. He rules over all the nations. He allows the nations to rule. He wants them to rule who he wants. The Babylonian Empire, the Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, all of them that way. Even the United States, we're there only because God's allowing it. See, He lets who wants to rule, he lets rule. And the kingdoms and his kingdom, God's kingdom, endures from generation to generation. In other words, forever, forever. And that's in Daniel now. Like I said, cover that on a Wednesday. Oh, I can't forget this. Cough down. Now, years before Nebuchadnezzar, you had Sennacherib. Now, he was the ruler of the Assyrian Empire. Assyrian, not Syria, Assyrian. And we don't talk much about that empire, except that was the empire that took the 10 northern tribes of Israel captive. But anyway, he also had to learn his lesson the hard way. When he proudly boasted in Isaiah 10:12 through 14 of his military strength instead of God's sovereign design in Isaiah 37:26 through 28, he attempted to conquer Jerusalem, God's holy city. And God said, no, you're not. And he failed, and his army was destroyed in Isaiah 37:36. And his own sons, in verse 38, murdered him. The Assyrians allotted time in God's program had ended. God said, I'm going to allow you this time, and that's it. Just like I mentioned, just like Babylon, just like the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, and the Romans in Daniel 2:31 through 45, 7:1 through 23. And since nations have risen in prominence, they had their moment in history and in the sun, if you want to call that, say that, and they faded from the scene after their appointed times. God controlled everything. I mean, he told all this before, and we say Daniel couldn't have written it. Daniel did, because God told him, and God wrote it all down, and it all came true. See, all that happened because God has determined it. Acts 17:27. Well, as I mentioned, what about the United States? Where are we? We're starting to go from God, just like Israel did back through those years, and they went into Babylonian captivity. And there's some other history there we're not going to go into. But anyway, the Daniel study, I do all that. But where are we at? We seem to be running very, very far from God. Are we getting, if we had our allotted time? We hear a lot of things about the time's coming. I mean, David Jeremiah's got a book, or where do we go from here? He's doing socialism on TV today. I guess he's preaching his new book. Where are we going to go? All that information's great, but where are we going? You know, it's an amazing thing to me. Let me rabbit trail, man. People read these things, the signs, where are we going from here? They hear these things, and I ask what the reaction's having, and they say, well, they talk about it, and it ends. Does it really motivate us? Do we really see what's going on? Do we really believe that maybe God's finished with us and he's going to come back? Where's our country going? Do we learn anything from history, from Babylon, the Greeks, and all that? Have we learned anything? You see, God's sovereignty extends beyond nations and governments to include people and events. Do we look at things that way? Do we give God credit for the jobs we have, the possessions we have, the days we have, how he's guided us through life? Do we look back and see what God's done? You see, everything happens according to the divine schedule. Now, in general, that is true. There's other things that go on through. I mean, don't every little nit tittle. The pinnacle of that schedule or plan are the birth, death, resurrection, and return of Jesus Christ. He is going to return. A lot of people don't want to believe it, but he's going to return. And there's things going around now that they don't believe in the virgin birth. You know, a lot of our seminaries don't believe, those guys get out, don't believe in the virgin birth. Now, let me tell you something. You don't, and it was brought to us that, you know, your pinnacle is on that virgin birth. You're right. That's the foundation. Folks, you don't have the virgin birth, then you don't have a God-man. You don't have a Savior. You don't have salvation. You don't have a sacrifice for your sins. So you take that away, and you got nothing. The foundation of Christianity. So if you want to start talking that away, which people are, well, you're in deep trouble. But it's all planned, and he is coming back. We may not think so. Well, it's been so many years in that. Well, God's timetable. It's not our timetable. We may want it, but he isn't ready yet. When he stands up, he will be. You see, Jesus is born when the fullness of time came, and God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, in Galatians 4:4. At his timetable, not ours. And Jesus' death also took place according to God's timing. He wasn't surprised, and we'll get to that. He wasn't surprised. It was God's plan. You see, Paul noted, at the right time, Christ died for the ungodly, Romans 5:6. having given himself as a ransom for all, the testimony given at the proper time, 1 Timothy 2:6. Christ will return at that precise moment, not before we want him. Paul reminded Timothy, the appearing of our Lord Jesus Christ, which he will bring about at the proper time, 1 Timothy 6:14 through 15. You see, it's not our time. We may want a lot of things. I would like to see the rapture like Paul. Paul didn't get to see the rapture. I'd like to see the rapture. Well, I don't know if it's going to be or not. I'd like to be called up. Be nice, but it's God's timetable, not mine. And you see, Jesus, being God-man, was conscious of, for the way we talk, the Father's will, of his will according to his divine timetable. And that truth is in the first 13 verses of chapter 7. Now, chapter 7 and 8 show a new, more volatile section in John's Gospel. The smoldering resentment that Jesus encountered back in chapter 6 is finally bursted into flames, or into violent hatred, if that's what you want to put. Chapter 8 ends with an unsuccessful attempt to kill Jesus. Therefore they picked up stones to throw at him, but Jesus hid himself and went out of the temple. In John 8:59. Time wasn't there. And there's other instances. You see, the hatred reached its peak in chapters 11:47 through 57. And when the Jewish leaders made their decision to kill him, a plot that ended with his crucifixion started. Chapter 7 now opens with Jesus still in Galilee, preparing to return to Jerusalem at the predetermined in God's plan. Time in God's plan, if you want everything now. Verses 1 through 9 tell us that this was not the right time. These verses show Jesus' decision to remain in Galilee until the timing was right for him to go to Jerusalem. His brothers request, and part of the crowd that was there, request that Jesus leave before the appointed time, and his response to their request. That's what this is going to cover this morning. Now Jesus is going to remain in Galilee in verse 1. The phrase "after these things" now refers back to the events in chapter 6, which was 2 weeks ago, if you can remember, that took place around the time of the Passover in April. Okay, chapter 6, verse 4. Now, chapter 7, excuse me, I made a mistake and put scene in there instead of 7. Chapter 7 opens at the Feast of Tabernacles in October. Chapter 7, verse 2. So there is a gap, really, of about 6 months. Now, John does not say anything about the time, or the interval, or the gap right there. Just that Jesus spent the time walking and ministering in Galilee. You see, John's purpose is to present Jesus as the Messiah, the Son of God. So John doesn't write an exact long biography of Jesus. Now, the other Gospels do. Okay, the other Gospels do. They say during that 6 months' time that Jesus traveled the length of Galilee. Matthew 15:21 went from Tyre to Sodom to Decapolis, and Mark 7:31 through 37. Jesus performed miracles and healings in Matthew 15:29 through 31, Mark 8:22 through 26, cast out demons in Matthew 15:21 through 28, and chapter 17:14 through 18. I guess I picked up a little cross going down to Colorado. And feeding the 4,000 in Matthew 15:32 through 38. They all cover that, but John doesn't. But most of the time Jesus spent during that period, that 6-month period, that interval, he spent discipling the disciples, the 12, in Matthew 16:13 through 17, 17:19 through 23, 18:1 through 35, including telling them for the first time of his impending rejection, crucifixion, and resurrection in Matthew 16:21. Jesus also revealed to the inner circle The ones that were the closest to him, he had several inner circles of those. They're basically groups of three. Peter, James, and John, a glimpse of his glory in Matthew 17, 1-8, the Transfiguration. Now, this shows that the primary focus of Jesus' ministry was discipling, not crowds. He only spent a couple of days with the crowds, and some of the last ones, maybe about 20,000 after that feeding. He devoted his time with a small group of 12 men who would carry on his ministry after he was gone. You see, and that's what the Christian church was called to do. The Christian church, in a large part, is a legacy of those 11 men, plus Matthias, because we know Judas went, in Acts 1:26, and Paul in 1 Corinthians 9:21, who discipled their followers, faithfuls, and so on till today. Discipleship should be the priority of the church. Not to be some inward circle, that we become a social program. Like many today, churches are going inward today all over our country, not just here and there. Several of them, that's all they are, inward. And I have people tell me my church seems to be turning inward. They have no outreach programs, really. They just sit back and say, well, God will send them to me. Or, well, I give to this and I give to that, and God, because I'll do that, God will send them to me. There's nothing there. They're not really discipling either, you see. The Lord did not commission the church to attract large crowds. Instead, to go and make disciples. Matthew 28:19. And Paul charged Pastor Timothy, the things which you have heard from me in the presence of many witnesses, entrust these to faithful men who will be able to teach others also. In 2 Timothy 2:1. You see, a church success is not the size of the congregation, but the depth of its discipleship. In other words, are there strong Christians in there? Do they know the Bible? You know, I know churches, and we listen to Olive Tree Ministries. People are complaining the churches aren't teaching about Revelation, aren't teaching Daniel. I mean, Jeremiah's doing that through some of his books, and it's reached out. We got churches almost satellites of Shadow Mountain with Jeremiah. They got all those videos, and they listen to videos on Sunday morning, which are great at some things. My personal opinion, those type of studies ought to be a Wednesday. But that's what they're doing. But how deep is your discipleship? How much are you really being taught in your church? How much is your pastor really teaching you? Is he teaching you this? Some people say, well, Wayne, you're more of a teacher than preaching. Well, that's probably true. I like to teach. But do you know even some of the things I even told you this morning? If you listen to Daniel, are you being taught that part of Daniel? The history and everything behind it? How deep is your discipleship? And the reason I say that, because people listen to Jeremiah, listen to these things, and then nothing happens. Nothing comes about. Are they listening and not really wanting to do? Do they really have a love for the lost, a love for Christ? Because they hear all this, and is it motivating them? Well, they talk about it, and then it goes, and I mentioned that earlier. Because being not in the church, we go to the church, and I see this, and I talk to other groups, and the same thing's happening all over. The church in these today are becoming stale. They're stagnant. Jeremiah even talks about that in his book, new book. They're stagnant. We're not really doing anything. Are we really growing? Do we have a deeper knowledge of Christ, a deeper knowledge of His Word? Look, I've been kind of preaching off and on to 1982, and I learned something all the time. I learned something even doing this message today, making it up for you. Everything's new in there. How deep? Are we just staying on the surface? And would Paul say to you, oh, you're still babes in Christ, you should be eating the meat of the Word? Where are we at? Where's our discipleship? You see, that's the success of it. What are we doing? Churches used to put out pastors and all this. And the church I was in the church put out 2 or 3 pastors. But where do they are today? Are they really doing it? It's the depth of our discipleship. Discipling the 12 was not the only reason Jesus remained in Galilee, though, but was unwilling to walk in Judah because the Jews were constantly seeking to kill him. The hostility toward Jesus, now get off my rabbit trail, toward Jesus in Judea, at least there, reached the point where the Jewish leaders wanted him dead. So Jesus was unwilling to walk or conduct his ministry openly there Because why? The time was not yet right in God's plan for the events leading to his death. You see, Jesus, our Lord, was not willing to die. It's not that he wasn't willing to die. That is why he came into the world. 12:27. Some say, well, he just wasn't willing. Yes, he was. It just wasn't the time yet, you see. Not yet. So he wasn't willing to do that confrontation yet because it wasn't in God's plan. But that he did come into, Jesus came into the world to die for our sins. That's what he came into the world for, John 12:27. Now, the brother's request is in verses 2 through 5. The Feast of the Booth, or the Feast of Tabernacles, which is also called the Ingathering. It went on for 7 days. It was a 7-day event in the Jewish month of Tishri, T-I-S-H-R-I, September and October. A festival assembling on the 8th day in Leviticus, chapter 23, 33 through 36, and Nehemiah 8:18. The people would build shelters out of branches in Leviticus 23:42. Just like they lived in, just like their ancestors did after leaving Egypt in verse 43. Now they made these booths on the streets and squares in Nehemiah 8:14 through 17. Or if they were in the city, they had flat roofs, so they would make them on top of the roof, and they would live them just like their ancestors did. It was a celebration of coming out of there and God providing for them. Now Josephus, a Jewish historian, the Feast of Tabernacles was the most popular of the 3 major Jewish feasts. Now, they had a great celebration. It was marked by parties, by water drawing from the well, and I've covered that many times before, and the lamp lighting rituals in John 7:37 through 38 and chapter 8, verse 12. Now, in the millennial kingdom, the Feast of Tabernacles will again be celebrated in honor of the Messiah's dwelling with his people and the ingathering of the nations into his kingdom, Zechariah 14:16 through 29. That's what the importance of this. Now, it was one of the 3 major ones that all Jewish men had to be at. Now, this feast was near, and was one of the 3 that all Jewish. I'm going to make some corrections. Which one of the 3 that all the Jewish males were required to attend in Deuteronomy 16:16. But Jesus wasn't going to, right? Jesus' brothers thought that he would soon leave Galilee and go into Judea to celebrate it. Now, these were Jesus' half-brothers, because he was required for all Jewish single males to be there. So they figured Jesus was going to be there. So they thought he would leave the deal. Now, these were his half-brothers, James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas, or Jude, that we really know him of. In Matthew 13:55 gives the names. At other places, brothers and sisters too. Now, they did not believe in Jesus at this time, but later they did in Acts 1:14. 2 of them, James and Jude, wrote epistles that bear their names, and James became the leader of the Jerusalem church in Acts 12:17, 15, 13, etc. Just a bunch of scriptures there. Now, his brothers challenged Jesus to perform miracles openly in Jerusalem. They had kind of like 2 motives, okay, to do this. Thinking his disciples from both Galilee and Judea would see the works which he was doing, which would demonstrate that he was, in fact, the Messiah. And that some of those disciples who had recently left him in 6:6 might come back. Would come back. Jesus' brothers were not zealous for him, though. For him to show his glory, because they were not believers yet. They weren't zealous for him to do it because they weren't believers in him yet. In verse 5. Like I said, they may have had 2 motivations. First, they wanted to see if Jesus performed miracles so that they may decide for themselves. Is his work really genuine or not? Second, they were expecting a political Messiah. So in their minds, The test of Jesus' messiahship would be at Jerusalem, where all the politicalness took place, and not in Galilee. And if the ruling authorities signed off on Jesus, his brothers would have accepted him as the Messiah. So they were trying to force him to do something before his time. Now, the next statement to Jesus was, for no one does everything in secret whom he himself seeks to be known publicly. Now, that makes sense if Jesus was a political Messiah they were looking for. But, like the crowds that Jesus had fed and wanted to make Jesus king, his brothers completely misunderstood Jesus' mission, as he would soon point out to them. Their final challenge, if you do these things, show yourself to the world, reveals actually their doubt and unbelief. If you do these things, show yourself to the world. Their doubt, they didn't believe in him. Now, the if foreshadows that mocking unbelief that Jesus faced on the cross in Matthew 27:40, and Satan's challenge in Matthew 4:3 and 6 during his temptations. John's footnote here, for not even his brothers were believing in him. Right now they weren't believing him, so they were just trying to force things. They were trying to help their doubt. Don't we do the same thing? Well, Jesus, I want to pray for this. If you answer this, then I'll believe that you're alive. I believe that you're here. I believe you're really God. I believe you're on my side. If you answer this prayer, that prayer, whether it's materialistic or anything else. Don't we do that? Show me that you're real. Well, that's what they were doing there. They really didn't believe. So they challenge. You see, when people don't believe, they're always challenging. They always want another sign, another miracle. Jesus talked about it. You want another miracle, but only going to get the sign of Jonah, the whale, 3 days. So everybody's doing this, and that's what they were doing. They weren't believing. You see, if you want to tear the Bible apart and go through it and say there's no virgin birth and blah, 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 and this isn't true, and that's only history, that wasn't real. When you start picking the Bible, you know what that tells me? You don't believe. It's your unbelief. And the same thing shows here. They wanted another sign, but they didn't believe yet. Now, earlier, even their unbelief led them to think that he had lost his mind in Mark 3, 21 and verses 31 through 34. Nothing Jesus had done since penetrated their hearts. That's the same with people today. They have all these things and they hear the gospel message, they hear it over and over, they hear people share, they hear this and they hear it over and over and over again, but it doesn't seem to penetrate their hearts at all. All those things that Jesus did didn't penetrate their hearts. They wanted another sign. Everybody today, well, I want his, but I want another sign. I want to see another miracle. I want to see Jesus. Why don't you come down and talk to me? And so they have the doubts. And they don't listen. It doesn't penetrate their hearts. And that's happening in our churches today. That's why our churches are stagnant. That's what they are. They're just dead. They're spiritually dead, basically. Because it's not really, they listen and they listen, but nothing actually happens. And there's so many problems. People don't even want to see the problems in the church, I'm finding today. It's out there to hear about it, but they don't want to do anything about it. They just sit back. And even churches have said, well, the people don't even know. 90% of the people don't even know what we do. Isn't that a heck of a thing for church staff to say? But people aren't looking. They aren't listening. And I heard one person say, well, how can you go out there and hear this after you've been in and heard this? It doesn't penetrate the heart, no matter what. You see, it took the resurrection from the dead that finally persuaded Jesus' brothers, persuaded them in Acts 1:14. Finally took that. Well, look at Jesus' response in 6 through 9. Jesus said to them, his misguided brothers, and he's saying that to us too, trying to force his hand, just like we try to force God's hand in our own lives. My time is not yet here. We can't force Jesus to come back. We can't force the rapture. In his time, it's going to come. He would not allow them or their skepticism to dictate his actions. The same today. We have churches demand things from Jesus, demand him to do this and demand him to do that. We can't demand Jesus to do anything. It's not our way. And it shouldn't be. The Lord has responded the same way to his mother at the wedding in Cana. My hour has not yet come. Chapter 2, verse 4 of Matthew. Jesus would not manifest himself before the right time. He's not going to do it now. We can't pray him to come earlier than he's going to come. The divine time would not come until the next really feast, Passover, the next spring. Till then, Jesus would minister in Judea area. So Jesus would not enter Jerusalem openly and declare himself to be the Messiah until then. Matthew 16:21, 17:22, just more scriptures. And that manifestation led to his death as he predicted. His brother's time was always opportune, it says in the verse. The unbelieving world in verse 7. We are not concerned with God's timetable. They don't care. They know today nothing of his plan, purpose, and we're indifferent to his providence. Sometimes I think the church is indifferent to God's plan too. I sometimes what I hear, it's unbelievable to me. But to the world, they're indifferent to his providence, and sometimes, like I said, churches. Anytime we go to go to the feast, anytime was good for them to go to the feast. It didn't make any difference to them. It wasn't God's timing. They could go in any want, you see. Leonard Morris says this, in this respect, the brothers joined with the world, since the world and the brothers have cut themselves off from divine appointed time. All times are alike to them. See, when we cut us off of God's timetable, then all times are just alike. See, the Gospel according to John, the New International Commentary on the New Testament, and it's so true. You see, we got to think about God's timing. We see what's going on. We don't like what's going on in our country. We don't like what's happening, but it's God's timetable. He's not ready yet. But so, unlike Jesus, they would not face hostility from the Jewish authorities in Jerusalem. See, they didn't have to worry about facing hostility, see, in Jerusalem, because the world could not hate them because they were part of it, and it loves its own. Chapter 15, verse 19. See, they're part of the world. You don't get many problems from the world because you're part of it, most of us. Even Christians are so part of the world. But Jesus reminded them and us today, hates me because I testify. See, they hate Jesus because he testifies of it or against it, that its deeds are evil. And because it is controlled by Satan, 1 John 5:19. When Christians or believers testify against the world and confront its wickedness, like some of us have done, they arouse antagonism and hatred. In chapter 15, verses 18 through 19, Matthew 10:22, Luke 22, John 3:13, etc. Okay? You see, when we sit back and we don't confront the sin in our churches or our society, we're not willing to speak. I'm really, Jeremiah speaking on his book, and he stands out there and he's standing up today. Where do we go from here? He's talking about socialism, which you can see our church going to. When you stand up to it, you're going to draw antagonism. And if you point out sin in the church, I'll guarantee you're going to start antagonism. People are going to hate you, or the staff is going to be, if it's whatever's happening, people are doing it, and they're afraid to bring it up because they're going to cause controversy. But then we're part of the world. See, the only reason we don't get it because we don't go against it. We don't testify against the world. We just like sheep, and we just go on with everything. And since that time was not right, Jesus refused his brother's request, telling them, go up to the feast yourselves. Jesus, for a reason already noted, chose not to go with them, and probably most likely a large caravan of people, because everybody's going. It was a required feast. Now, the Greek manuscripts are split evenly on the Greek word that's used for not. I'm not going to study Greek word in verse 10. But in either case, the Lord's meaning is clear. He was not saying he would not go, he would not attend the feast at all, but that he would not go with his brothers in the manner they wanted, for him to pronounce him to be the Messiah. You see, it could have caused a confrontation with the Jewish authorities, resulting in his death before the right time, or for the crowds that were with him before to try to make him king again. The triumphal entry, too soon. It wasn't the right time. So Jesus would not allow the Jewish leaders to take his life because his time had not yet fully come. When Jesus did lay down his life, 6 months later, at the right Passover, as the proper time that God had predetermined, having said these things to his brother, he stayed in Galilee for a little while. See, he did. He laid down his life. But he stayed there for a little while because it wasn't the right time. And what was the right time? In verses 10 through 13. Jesus, by delaying his departure after his brothers had gone up to the feast, Jesus was able to go to Jerusalem, not publicly, but in secret. And by the time he left Galilee, most people would have arrived in Jerusalem. The roads would have been relatively deserted. It's the same way I like to travel during the school year, because I go into Colorado and back, the roads are hardly full. It's fairly empty. No big deal. You get by very quickly, don't have to worry about backed up traffic and all. Jesus also traveled through Samaria at this time. The New Testament scholars believe the journey through Samaria, described in Luke chapter 9, 51 through 50, took place with the Samaritan woman at this time. And few Jews were willing to do that. Doing so allowed Jesus to arrive unnecessarily and to avoid any unnecessary public fanfare or attention. See? He didn't want to get there to do that, to confrontate. That would have led maybe to the premature confrontation with the Jewish leaders. So he got there without everybody knowing. Now, the events in Jerusalem confirmed the wisdom of Jesus' caution. John says the Jews were seeking him at the feast and were saying, "Where is he?" Now, the phrase "the Jews" does not refer to the common people, but to the Jewish leaders who were seeking to kill him. Chapter 5, verse 18. So Jesus was right. The leaders were not the only ones discussing Jesus in his absence. There was much grumbling and discernment among the crowds of worshipers concerning him. Some were saying that he was a good man, while others were saying, no, it's the contrary, he leads people astray. Now, both views are incorrect. You see, a good man would not claim to be God in John 5:18, nor was he one who leads people astray, because deceivers do not perform supernatural miracles that Jesus did. Sadly, was the second view that he was a deceiver prevailed among the majority of the Jewish people. Yet not one, whether they thought Jesus was a good man or a deceiver, was speaking openly of him for fear of the Jews. You see, the people were careful to guard their words. You see, the people did not want to contradict their religious leaders. Oh, wow, do we have a lot of that in the churches today? And I've heard a lot about that lately because of some of the things going on. Oh, we just don't want to contradict our leaders. The results of doing so could be catastrophic for them. Excommunication from the Jewish synagogue, non-trial. Now, what does that mean? That means that dreaded punishment, cuts the person off from all of Jewish life, not just the synagogue. But how about us today in church people? Are we willing to stand up, willing to say things, willing to confront people because maybe we would be cut off? Is the church willing to confront what's going on in their churches, what's happening? No, I doubt it. I better end this thing. It's been a little bit longer today. Jesus followed God's timetable perfectly. True Christians or followers of Christ also have the ability to follow God's revealed will because they have been given both his word and his spirit. You see, we have the Spirit of Christ in us. When we become believers, we accept him as our personal Savior. We ask him to come into our life, forgive us of our sins, believe that he came, that he died on the cross of Calvary, and rose again on the third day. When we believe that and ask him into life, we have his Spirit come into us. You see, his word informs believers or us as to what his will is, Psalms 40, verse 8, and his Spirit empowers us or them to obey believers that will with gladness in Psalms 143:10. You see, unbelievers do not have the capacity to understand God's word, 1 Corinthians 1:14, or the ability to obey his Spirit in Romans 8:5-9. Yet for those who have yet not come to Jesus, the time is right for you to do so now. For he says, at the acceptable time I listened to you, and on the day of salvation I helped you. Behold, now is the acceptable time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. 2 Corinthians 6:26-2. Today is the time of salvation. If you don't know Jesus Christ, you can today. Today is the day of salvation. Not tomorrow. Nobody can guarantee tomorrow. Today is the day of salvation. You can come to Christ, have his Spirit in your life, and be able to follow God's will and understand the Bible and understand the times that we're in right now in this world. You can have a Christ view of the world, not a human view, and understand what's going on. You just have to ask him into your life. Only you can do it. I can't do it. Only you. Father, again, we just thank you for this day. Thank you for your words. Thank you, Father, for the time you've given us this morning. We just ask that you use this, Father, to glorify your kingdom and help people to understand your word just a little bit more. Just thank you for that time that you've given us. For in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.